What even is
A Nuggcast.
Welcome to the Nuggcast, the only weekly gaming podcast that has better graphics than a David Cage game. I'm Rowan.
I'm Micah.
I'm Georgia.
And I'm Ryan.
So this week, as usual, we're going to start with the news, and then we'll talk about graphics versus gameplay, and then talk about some of the games we've been playing this past week.
Yeah. What do you think about what's been going on with the news, Ryan?
Well, what's the news been
Overwatch.
good?
We got
Me
Overwatch.
We have, surprise, surprise, we're talking about Overwatch again.
What is that?
I've never heard of that game.
Yeah, neither. So Overwatch. So the first thing that's happened is that Overwatch, so there's been new draw mechanics added. So in competitive, people have been quite angry that there's been a lot of games that have been, going for ages only to end in a draw. And it's
Because
a pain.
essentially what happens is, in quick play, you win if you have the shortest time. But if in competitive you don't, you draw. But if you have the same amount of points captured or checkpoints.
Right.
But in competitive you don't, and that's so stupid. When I was doing my placement matches, 4 of them were draws, and if it had been implemented, 3 of them would have been wins for our team.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
frustrating.
so mad because I would have had 1 loss.
So basically, with this new system, it bases it on the percent that you get. So basically, you know how the objective, it's divided into 3 segments, so that when you're capturing a point, there's 3 segments that it'll decay back to the previous segment in the circle.
Right.
It bases it still decays back, but it doesn't base it on the highest segment.
Yeah, I think it was.
It
For
bases it where it
checkpoint
gets up
maps
to.
where you move the payload, it's the shortest time to do it. For capture the flag, King of the Hill, sorry. That's what it is? King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Just
King
call
of
it
the
the best
Hill.
game mode.
Yeah.
King of the Hill type maps, it's time spent on the objective. So if you both did an even cap and you both capped 2 each, one after the other, and then,
Right.
so that it worked out that way,
Yeah.
then it would be time spent on the objective in the last match, I believe.
It's generally a good move all around. There'll be almost no draws. It's very
because
difficult
draws
to get
are
a draw.
BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't sound... the thing about competitive games is that the fact that they draw is stupid.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
longer.
drawing is just a mechanic. There's no game where drawing is fun in.
Yeah, it's if I do better than other people.
Apart from Pictionary.
I was going to say Pokemon Art Academy.
Oh, man. OG. Go on.
I'm just saying, if my team does better than the other team, we should win, and our ranking should go up because we did
you
better.
won.
Yeah, not just we should do
So-
nothing.
What was wrong with the old system? Why did they add something new? It's that thing of if it's not broken, then don't fix it. Why did they?
Oh, they just always had draws, and it was just
I've
a
not
mistake
touched
from the beginning.
competitive. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, competitive is 80% of the time you draw. It probably a bit
Well,
less. That's an over-exaggeration.
If
but,
you get
it's
matched
still
well,
too
and then
much.
there's
Yeah.
lots of people around your level that are really your level, or a couple times I've been matched with almost the exact same teams, and we're very evenly split in skill sets. So it's oh my gosh.
If competitive matchmaking is doing its job correctly, then there should be a lot of draws because that's
and typically there is. Except
It's
when
and even 20% draws is too much. I don't know the exact percentage, but even 20% is too much because
Yes.
it's a fifth of your games are just.
and it's people might see it as a negative because they might, if they're bad, lose more, but then they'll just go down to a ranking that they should be at, and it'll be okay. You'll be fine. You'll be at the level where you will be stuck because you're not good enough to progress. I'm not saying, get good. That's just how it is. You get ranked. That's competitive.
I think when it's competitive, get good is the only thing you're meant to do.
Well, but people complain but this way my ranking will go down because I will lose more. And you will lose more.
You're worse.
Yeah.
Does this change the length of matches at all or anything?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Oh, okay, because the way CSGO does draw breaking is just another 4 rounds, and if those are a draw, it's another 4 rounds until someone
The
wins.
way it would work is because I don't know really how CSGO sucks.
You just need to know it's a bad game.
As soon as somebody beats the other person's score, they win.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So yeah.
So like what could happen is it's one person wins one round, one team wins one round, and then the other team wins that round, and then the original team wins that round. And then if the other team does not win, then it's going to be an instant loss. But if they got all the way to the end, so they're 2 solid points each, then it's done on time.
Oh, okay.
So it won't be, there won't be more.
Yeah, but if it isn't 2 solid points, then there's like, it calculates like the percentage and it gets things rather than...
It's time spent
doing
on
that.
the objective points.
So the only thing that I've seen that is a bit negative is that the people have been, they've seen, there's a thing that's doing rounds at the moment where if you play as a Sombra, you can just like invisible and just run to the objective as quick as you can. So like if the other team didn't get to the objective and now it's your turn to go, you know that just as a Sombra you can go invisible,
But
you can run
the
real
thing
fast
is-
and get on the objective, immediately win.
That's just strategy.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
more strategy.
It's just more strategy, and people will just have to play around it. Like they'll
Yeah.
just have to go, okay, I know a Sombra is going to come and run at the thing. We
Yeah.
need to defend the objective.
Yeah,
So
I don't
it's-
think that's necessarily a problem.
Oh,
The
no,
whole
definitely.
point of
It's-
adding new characters is so that the game gets harder for a little bit, and then they add another
And it just changes
map,
it up.
but then a character. That's good.
Because it's like, it's fun, because then it's like, it would get boring, but now it's like, there's Sombras that can sneak on in. So then everyone will prepare for that, so then people will be like, we'll have the Sombra as a decoy while the true team comes in.
There wasn't a stealth character before her.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Like, the
Nerds.
closest thing to a stealth character was maybe Tracer, because you can...
I would say the closest thing to a stealth character would have been Roadhog, because you just sneak up behind people and hook them. Oh, I love it. Ooh.
And some
You know
other Overwatch news. Orisa is out.
She's out.
She's here.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready. She's very scary.
Really? I love her.
I love her,
Mm.
but
I haven't played a game
very
with her.
intimidating.
I tried to get on this morning to play a game with her and I couldn't get on. I
Yeah.
don't know if the servers were down or if too many people were trying to get on, but I couldn't get on. So
Nah. She's fun to play as, but that's kind of all I can say about her. I've not played against her. I played in the PTR, so it also would be different now anyway.
Yeah, well, I
A little
think they
bit.
kept it pretty much the same though.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are still learning in the PTR.
Yeah. I really like that she's just a mix of a bunch of different characters. I think
she's great.
that's a cool thing. It kind of seems like maybe they're running out of ideas, but it's cool that they are.
I think it's just, for me personally, it's intimidating because like
I think she's the tallest character.
being I play a lot of the weaker like less health heavy characters, so that's
You're just
a
saying that you play
little
Mercy.
scary.
That's
I
scary.
do play Mercy,
Yeah.
and it is scary. It's scary. I'm scared. Sure.
So another bit of news from Blizzard. So a cheat maker, Bossland, is being sued by Blizzard for $8.5 million.
I'm sure he has the money.
For what?
So basically, they sold 118,939 copies of their cheat for Overwatch, specifically Overwatch, but they also used to make hacks for WoW and just other like Diablo and stuff like that.
Right.
So basically Blizzard says of those products, 36% were Blizzard's. There were products for Blizzard's games. And that it's caused irreplaceable harm to Blizzard. It's a breach of terms of service and copyright. And so they're suing them for $8.5 million.
You know, this all sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
Is it Blizzard Homicide, am I right?
Yeah. Like, this is, like, obviously I don't believe in cheating, but,
It's a little too much.
yeah, like, what?
8.5 sounds a little big.
Just cease and desist.
Yeah.
It's
But maybe they did, and they didn't stop.
Maybe they just don't want to be compared to Nintendo. You know?
Maybe.
so the problem with this is that it's really difficult to know where it stands because for these cheats, we don't know whether the cheats actually use some of Blizzard's code, because then maybe there is something to go along with the copyright abuse. Like if
you
they're
would
actually
assume that
using
it
Blizzard's
would.
code, well, yeah, exactly. And then maybe they have a leg to stand on there, but we don't know 100% that. So obviously, like, there's some things that
I think that 8.6 million?
8.5 million.
8.5?
Yeah.
It's a bit
So
much.
The number was calculated based on how much Overwatch costs, and the 36% of the number of how many products they've sold, because they consider that to be they've damaged that many copies of Overwatch for people because they've been cheating.
That's
that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's not.
That doesn't take away the money. If anything,
Yeah, listen.
maybe accounts getting banned for cheats means they're just buying the game again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
What?
if anything, this has probably gotten Blizzard more money.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
if
but
anything. But that's
you know
not
what
saying
else will
it.
get Blizzard more money?
Yep.
Suing a bitch.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
It's weird. I don't like people that cheat. I think it's like, why are you cheating? It's not fun to
It's
cheat.
not fun for anyone.
Yeah.
It's funny when you play World at War 5 years later and there are people floating.
Yeah.
Not fun, but hilarious.
It is fun for the person cheating.
Totally.
Is it like actually fun for people that cheat?
I
It's
used
fun
to
for a
cheat in
bit.
CS Source, and it was quite fun.
It's fun because of the troll aspect.
I
If you
just-
like messing with people.
I just never understood that because I can mess with people other ways, you know.
Hmm.
Like I think
It's-
if you're
That's what I like doing, because like I like playing Widowmaker, so I can kill in the second and relive the
Yeah.
spawn.
Mm.
I like.
oh that happened to me.
It's like when you're purposely being a dick and you know the other person can't do anything about it. It's, you know, like it's a childish thing, but it is.
I think it
I
is.
won't doubt that it is fun to do.
I doubt. I just think it is extremely childish.
Yeah.
And the
Oh, yeah.
only people that cheat are like quite immature because they don't know how to have fun without, you know,
Yeah.
bringing someone else down.
So Blizzard sues a child for $8.5 million for
That's
having
the
a little
headline.
goof. There
Yeah.
you go.
Great.
That's a big title.
iOS has updated their App Store. So it's added a new feature, which is the Indie Game Showcase, which gives better highlighting for small indie studios. And
Yeah.
Georgia, you've actually seen it because I don't
Yeah.
own an iPhone.
I was looking at it yesterday, and it's really great. I actually didn't know a lot of my like favorite games, like Don't Starve, are actually on iPad and stuff. So, you know, Don't Starve doesn't have the greatest controls anyway. So I think I might buy it for my
Yeah.
iPad.
iPad games don't have good controls in general, though.
Well,
So
yeah, but
if
no,
you
but
have-
like I'm saying, like the
Yeah.
PC version of Don't
Well,
Starve
yeah,
isn't
but
great
if,
at
if you have
controlling.
an iPad, then you're already used to bad controls, which might be why you...
iPad games are good if the game was made for iPad from the start. A lot of the time,
There's a
Like-
lot of cool
like
games
Flash and
on
stuff
there.
like that.
Yeah.
Like games that were made with
Yeah,
touch controls and side.
Oxenfree is on there, and
Yeah.
I'm really interested in getting that because I was going to buy it eventually anyway, so I might get it on my iPad because it's just a
Yeah, it's just a point click.
visual based. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, apparently, just a really good game.
Yeah.
So the stuff that's actually on there is going to be curated by the editorial team at Apple, which they already do stuff like they curate. They're like, oh, here's
Yeah.
the editor picks and things.
There's
but
like
now it's
bundles and stuff.
I remember seeing editor pics like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused. There's this big online store that sells games.
the
Have
ads.
curation.
Yeah, how do they do it?
How do they afford that?
Oh, I don't know. So they've said that it'll be a permanent subsection for them to just have that indie bit.
They have like little subcategories under it as well. Like there's just like the top rated indies, the most like visually appealing. And then it's like, oh, if you like this type of game, you will like these ones. And there's also a local section, which is real nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's it called? The whale one. The whale is the name. The
What?
Clucky Road. What is it?
Crossy
Chicken?
Road.
Crossy Road.
Mm.
Crossy Road.
Frogger.
Who makes that? Something whale.
Hipster whale.
Hipster whale.
It's me, guys.
Yeah, that was in there because they're a local one.
Oh, so like, does local setting be like?
Local setting, like to your GPS local setting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
real cool.
yeah, it's terrific.
Because
Honestly.
it's like, oh, if you want to support someone local, here you go. There's a lot of St. Patrick's Day things right now going on in Brisbane.
So sad I missed it.
yeah,
We can make up for it.
We drank a beer and a half in remembrance of St. Patty's Day.
Some green beers.
Speaking
I
of
had
St.
green
Patrick's
beer.
Day,
Oh yeah, speaking of St. Patrick's Day.
Woo!
So
Ireland.
Ireland's first professional gaming convention, GamerCon, happened. And boy, did it happen.
Yeah.
So
If anything, it happened too much.
Yes. So it happened in Dublin's National Convention Centre. They're going to have like VR cosplay. They're like, oh man, this thing's going to be great.
Like a full-blown convention.
Yeah, like it lived up to everything it promised as well. Except for one thing. So they're like, join our convention with over 20,000 other gamers. So, first of all, the hall that they were in holds no more than 9,000 people.
Ooh.
They were told they could have a maximum of 7,000 people, because then obviously there's
The
also
staff
the staff
and
and
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
And they sold over 24,000 tickets.
Ugh.
And
It was a 2-day event.
it's a 2-day event.
So that's split,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. So let's say 14,000 people to the 7,000 people event.
And that's like assuming that it would be half-off as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's not assuming people would be there more on
Yeah.
the first day than the second day and things like that. Yeah, it did not go well. Ireland, as you can imagine, rains a lot.
Yeah, people just waiting outside for
there's-
literally hours on hours.
Yeah, in the rain.
So they didn't tell them that. Did they try to
No.
get everyone inside?
No,
No.
they couldn't.
Yeah,
So they
health
just
and
legally-
safety regulations, they could not let over the capacity in. So there was queues like down the road. There's a video of a guy that was just abusing the guard at the door, and you're like, I feel kind of sorry for the guard at the
The
door.
poor guy,
but
because it's not
it's-
him.
Yeah, definitely.
exactly.
It's
but
the
it's
like horrible event managers that's just so bad.
Mm.
And it's like
so-
I think of like all the like elaborate cosplays that would have gone ruined by the rain.
yeah.
just to put it into perspective for you guys, Supernova gets about 10,000 people through its doors.
Ooh.
So imagine that.
Yeah, and
That's
Supernova's
in
packed.
3
And
days.
yeah, and that's it's a day.
Oh, 10,000
Yeah,
day.
and that's why they've had to, they are consistently upgrading their venue so that they can, as it's been going through like the 10 to 12 years, it's a local convention. Yeah, this is just incredibly irresponsible. It's their first time. Clearly, they have no experience.
Yeah.
It's just
Being
such
an
a...
event manager, I studied event management right out of school, straight out of school. That's what I did. This is like one of the basic things they teach. I don't understand how this person got their job. They should be fired.
I didn't hear about this news until right now, and I don't know how I didn't, because this is my favorite type of news.
It's like, honestly, if you're an event manager, they go, okay, there's a maximum capacity of 9,000 people. They're like, oh, okay then, but you can only have 7,000. Oh, okay, that won't be a problem. We'll sell 24,000 tickets. That'll be fine.
When they sold the tickets, as soon as they sold the tickets, they should have they should have changed the venue. Like, we have the funds now because everyone's bought the tickets.
Yes.
We'll get a bigger venue. That's what should have happened, but it didn't because they're being cheapskates.
Yeah.
Or just are incredibly
Like, that's just...
misinformed.
That's so much of an enormous oversight that I feel like they did it on purpose.
I think
Yeah.
they've just been like, okay, maybe we'll not do this again next year. If
Well,
we
I-
get enough money for it this year.
Nobody is going again. Like,
Yeah.
nobody is going to turn up to that.
Let's be
Whether-
honest, people will. Like,
Yeah.
it's the only big one in Ireland. Like, they're
But
gonna get people.
the
They
thing
know
is,
that bad
the thing
PR
is,
doesn't mean
did
anything.
they offer refunds?
Yes.
just
So,
about to ask that.
if your ticket did not get scanned, you will get a refund.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, but like, are they going to refund the 8+ hours they spent waiting outside in the rain?
Yeah.
They're not going to refund that. They're
And
not
what
going to
about-
refund people's ruined cosplays.
Yeah,
They're not gonna refund
exactly.
the people that travelled to get to this convention.
Oh, and then you wouldn't be able to get in.
Like, cosplay can cost, like, it typically costs hundreds of dollars, and you've put so much time into this, and then you just melt in the rain because the event, people can't get their stuff together.
Yeah, like, obviously, it's, like, I don't think it's the event manager's, like, responsibility to take care of people's cosplays or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like...
It is
They
when
could've-
they are
they could've-
forced to stand in the rain because
Well, no, yeah,
of
that's what I was
their-
about to ask.
yeah.
Why didn't they just... Even if they just tweeted out, like, oh, yeah, you can't get in. Like, why didn't they just
They
say
should
that?
have, but they
Yeah.
just, I don't
Why
think
not,
they did.
though?
Well,
Embarrassment?
Because they're like, oh, you just got to wait until people leave and then you can come in, kind
Oh,
of thing.
they wanted that reassurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And so that also makes me feel bad for the people that waited there for hours, got
Yeah.
their tickets scanned to get in, were in there for a couple of hours maybe before the end of the convention.
And it would have been
and then
so
they've
packed.
got it scanned, they don't get a refund.
That rush,
Yeah.
like that beginning rush when you go to a convention, you're like, halfway in the line and you go into the exhibitor hall and you can barely move because everyone's trying to shop, that would be it the entire time. There would be no clear spots because it's at, like, it's over capacity. There's no time. It's just, like, literal traffic all the time. It's so ridiculous.
It's kind of putting me off of Supernova, but hey.
Well, they actually know how to manage their events.
Yeah. So this news will come to no surprise for anybody living in Australia. Outlast 2 has been refused classification. So we have so for anybody outside of Australia, we only within the past few years have received an R18 rating in Australia. Already a lot of games have even been refused an R18 rating because they're just the board that says, yeah, this is okay or this isn't, is very strict about very specific things.
It's ridiculously strict.
Yeah. So basically for this one, they're saying that it will be reconsidered without the depiction of implied sexual violence.
It's always that's like the main thing that gets games cancelled. Australia, like
Yeah.
Hotline Miami 2. There was
Saints Row
a
4.
rape
what's
scene.
the Donga game?
Saints Row 4.
Saints
no,
Row
Saints Row
4
got censored.
Oh,
or
the snake
South
one,
Park.
the selfie one.
No.
I'm trying to think of.
Oh, you're talking about?
It's the one where you got to get the dicks into the butts.
Yes.
Oh, that I don't remember what that's called, but yeah.
Oh no.
They didn't even try to get that.
Genital jousting.
Genital
Genital
jousting.
jousting.
That's made by a team of South Africans.
Ah.
Well, at least most of the team's African. Those guys didn't even try to get classified in Australia because they just
There's no point.
Yeah. Even though, like, it's very.
It could just be the weenie dogs. Well, but they go into each other's butts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also I really like the fact that Australia, like, there is a lot of sexual violence things, which I, don't have a problem with being censored, but they, like in Saints Row 4, they censored an entire thing that had to do with drugs. I think it's funny that they censored something to do with drugs, but you have to take a walk for, like, 10 minutes to encounter drugs in Australia.
The alien... Yeah, I remember.
They also censored the probe weapon in Saints Row.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
and the
sexual
fractured
violence.
butthole got censored.
Yes,
Because
it did.
sexual violence. It's
Yeah.
probing in general.
Yeah. It's,
The entire scene was replaced with a big picture of a sad koala.
I remember that.
My biggest confusion on this is really, I don't think that the Australian government really does much to prevent actual sexual violence or domestic violence in Australia. They do literally nothing.
Georgia.
Is there any government?
If it's less in the games, it'll be less in real life.
Are there any
The
governments?
problem is, like, I'm in two minds about it, because it's like, I do understand, like, I understand why even the Australian government, but also just people, don't want sexual violence depicted in their games. And I completely get that, because that's a horrible thing. But also, it's like, you're censoring people, like, this is a thing that they've made. Yeah, exactly.
But also,
like,
it's
if games
allowed-
are an art form, there's paintings of things depicting rape, is that censored? Like, there's,
But, like,
it's a really
I think
difficult
nothing should be
area.
censored, but there should be warnings in life
I
more.
think
Exactly.
Well, I think that it should be very much. It should still be allowed, but it could just get an X rating. We don't have to cut it out. We could just bring it up to the X rating instead, and have a warning saying like this game or whatever depicts sexual violence and other things, and
it's
then
just
just give it an X rating, and children cannot buy this.
This is another example of, like, people treating games like a lesser medium, because, like,
Yeah.
we still get all the TV shows with sexual violence in it.
Yeah, like
and
we get Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Literally Sansa, like.
And it's like, it's just quite annoying. Like, one of the things that I found actually quite interesting is the reason in Saints Row 3, in Fallout 3, Med-X is only called Med-X because it was originally called morphine. Then they submitted it to the Australian classification board. They said no, and Bethesda's like, what if more countries reject it because of this? So they actually changed it to Med-X everywhere,
were
and now
just
it's
scared.
Med-X, which is like quite well known as like, that's a Fallout thing.
That's
It's
a-
Med-X.
That's,
Yeah.
But morphine fits the time period.
Well, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it also fits in because, like, there are no other drugs or chems in that game that are real,
Yeah, exactly.
as far as
Yeah.
I know. Unless,
It doesn't
Unless they
affect
change
it.
all of them.
well, no, unless people have asthma and secretly junkies.
Yeah.
Don't think so, then.
In the case of like Fallout 3, it does not affect it at all because it's just a name change.
Yeah.
But when it's like entire scenes cut out, and I think that personally, the scene in Hotline Miami was unnecessary. It didn't further the story that much. It was a rape scene. But it was a rape scene, but it was they were actors, so it's all.
I think it was necessary to like the art of the game because it added to just the very uneasy atmosphere the game created.
The entire first Hotline Miami game is one of the like most unsettling games for me because of the sound when you have to walk back through the house or like wherever you just killed a shitload of people in. Like it really eases that in, but also like
I think that it's always kind of unnecessary to put it in. I think that it's lazy writing, and you can show villains in a different way.
Yeah.
But.
So it was in Hotline Miami 2. It was rape porn. So the actors were
It was
consenting.
like a film.
Yeah,
So
They were doing a film about the events of the first game. In the first game, there wasn't the rape scene, but this was something that they were like. It just wasn't something shown in the first game.
And I think that it should have remained something that wasn't shown.
In that case, it just kind of sounds like they were like shock value.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think it is lazy writing. Like I think that some of the added rapes there's rapes that happen in Game of Thrones books, and then there's rapes that happened in the show only. And a lot of those were quite just for shock value.
Oh, okay.
There's no reason to do that. Like, it kind of messed it up a little, but it doesn't. My point is, like, it's lazy writing when it's just for shock value.
One thing I'd say, like, regardless of like whether it was just for shock value or not, I can respect that they were unwilling to remove it from the game just to get in Australia because they value their art more than the money we've got.
I don't think that it should have been censored. Once again, I think it should be come with like you've got to slap a warning on the beginning of it and have the X rating. I don't think it should actually be censored. I just question their writing.
I think, if I remember, I think the game has the option to censor
it does
in-game.
have an option.
Yeah.
That's how they
just like no Russian.
Yeah. And that's where it goes. Like, I agree that it's lazy writing, but I don't think that lazy writing also means that it should get censored. Yeah, exactly. It's
and I'm not saying it should get censored. I'm saying that it should have an X rating and a warning because it affects some people a lot more, and then they just want to avoid it. So just let them.
Yeah, I definitely think Australia needs X-rated games.
Yeah, because the government just doesn't take like games seriously, doesn't take the gaming industry seriously.
Yeah. And the mere fact of how long it took for us to get an R18 rating, the fact that there isn't all that many game development studios in Australia, there's been like cut funding for those kinds of things. It's obviously don't recently. You know. Yeah, exactly.
I completely forgot that we didn't have R ratings until 2013.
Yeah.
Like
so
before
only
that,
4 years.
Yeah, like there were games that got censored, like there just wouldn't be dismemberment. Like a big part of it was violence, like Mortal Kombat 9.
Left 4 Dead, there was no dead bodies leaving on the ground.
Yeah. I think that's also kind of strange because then they also let like Fallout 3 into Australia.
And Skyrim, where you can... Oblivion is more closer to the time period, but you can just drag around dead bodies.
Yeah, you can drag around dead bodies, you can... Bloody mess
is a thing.
And like it's not... I don't know, it just seems like they just randomly pick and choose games that they don't like to be like...
Very much
It's almost like it's a stupid system.
It is.
Yeah.
Xbox One and Windows 10 will get game chat transcription. So basically,
like MSN used to have.
Did it?
Yeah. I found out my parents were reading my...
Ooh. Oh. Did they catch any naughty secrets?
Oh, okay. But it's not the
So I was grounded for a long time.
So wow. So this is for the game chat. So this is like for speaking. So it'll convert your speaking into text.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is so basically So Halo Wars 2 will be the first one to support it, and then they want to give support to future games.
Yeah.
It's not going to be built into the actual like Windows 10 or Xbox One. It needs to be supported within the game.
Well, okay.
But they want to support, like, give people the tools to be able to do it. So in the sense
that you can do voice to text.
Yes.
So for, like, blind people mainly.
Yeah, exactly. So it works both ways. So it's voice to text and text to voice. Well, so if you're deaf and you want to play the game, like, you know, rather than having the in-game chat, you can't listen to that, obviously, but it'll transcribe it onto into the in-game chat, so that it looks like someone's just typed it.
I briefly thought it was just voice to text, and then you said blind people, and I was like...
Well, no, when you text with... Because blind people still need phones, they need to communicate to people.
Yeah.
So they need to specifically only have voice to text, and Siri or Cortana or whatever,
Yeah.
always on,
And
always
there's-
listening.
Right.
And there's a lot of interesting ways this can be used, because, like, text is such a less memory-intensive way to store, like,
Audio.
conversations
Yeah.
than audio, which means, like, this could be a way to get rid of, like, at least help combat griefing, abuse, things like that. Over
Yeah,
voice.
Definitely abuse.
Because obviously
Oh.
it was, like, super not realistic for them to, and kind of weird for them to record all your audio and then just save it away in case you report this person and be like, this is when I did it. But now...
Now it's like much easier.
And
much
also
easier.
wouldn't have been, like, a financially viable thing, because it's so much storage space
Like,
you need.
yeah, literally impossible for them to do it.
It's going to be so much easier to
and
ban racist
Yeah,
12-year-olds.
and also they can just, Control F, type
fucked.
in the
Yeah.
username and be like, alright, here's where
Yeah.
this person was speaking to them.
There's things about, like, I don't know if I trust Microsoft with my chat logs, but it is also.
I mean, like, really, what are you saying over the mic?
Yeah, exactly. But it's still like a privacy thing. But there's also like I completely agree. Like being able to crack down on harassment. Like even if you're like, I don't care about these accessibility options, there's still other reasons to use it, even if you're not deaf. Like
Yeah,
there's
obviously.
yeah, exactly. Like the harassment is a main thing. Like proving over audio that somebody has harassed you is a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah,
but if
and,
there's
like,
literally the chat log of the game, you can see right
And
there.
they're going to be able to judge it more fairly, I think, because, if someone's just like, oh, you're a loser or something, like, okay, get over it. You're talking to people online, but if someone is, like, consistently harassing this person and to the point where it's, like, making horrible threats and stuff, I think that, then they can judge it.
Plus,
And hopefully they judge it fairly.
I don't think the privacy thing is that much of a big issue, because it's not like you use Xbox Live to dirty talk someone.
Yeah, like, what are you
Yeah.
doing that you're worried? Like, oh, let me just, tell you guys my bank account numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
Here's my PIN.
So, our last story for the day is the most infuriating story of the day.
Yay.
So, Mass Effect. So, we can talk a bit about Mass Effect, but the thing we want to talk about first is basically...
Can I
Georgia-
just, I'll just take it.
Georgia.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about a couple things regarding Mass Effect Andromeda, which has just come out. The animations, all the previews that we saw, they were horrible.
They were beautiful.
They were beautiful in the sense that it looked like that they were all just trying to eat their lips weirdly, and
That's a really good way to describe
yeah,
it.
and they were like waddling when they ran. Those are big problems, but they received a lot of hate for that, obviously, because it was horrible, and it's like, you can do better than this.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen Mass Effect 3, you can do better than this.
Well, no, it's just
Slightly better.
Mass Effect 3 was also a controversial Mass Effect game.
Yeah, but not for the shitty
No, yeah, no,
animation.
yeah.
But actually, which is interesting, I'm not sure if this is related to the fact that it was made in BioWare's Montreal studio, but
It's almost definitely.
a French streamer actually streamed the game live, maybe slightly early before it came out, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
And the animation looks 100% better. People are claiming, people are like going, oh, this person clearly has a facial, like a custom face on. It's the default face, and a custom face mod would not fix the running animations. So I'm very confused about what has happened, why all these previews are so horrible. I'm like just real confused.
Is this all just an elaborate ruse?
It maybe
A
was
marketing
like
scam?
maybe just a good marketing scheme.
Like, the only thing we have is review copies, like, that have been sent out.
Maybe
So,
the review
they just-
copies were...
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
review copies are boinked, or they were just the betas versions.
Well,
or...
BioWare isn't cool enough to do that.
It's even...
Well,
but
accidentally. Yeah.
Actually, well,
Yeah.
Maybe.
it's even just like the stuff that BioWare released, like the clips
Yeah.
that they released
Like
was
previews.
like ridiculous. She's
Oh.
holding the gun the wrong way in one of the cinematics.
Yeah,
so
it's
she would have
really
shot
weird.
herself.
But like
Good.
this stream of this girl actually playing the game, it looks fine. It looks it's acceptable. So just check out some live streams. You know, now that the game's coming out, we can just see for yourself before you pass judgment on the animation. It's not amazing either way, but it's so horrible that you just want to pull your eyes out.
Pretty much sorry if you pre-ordered it. I mean, it's on you, buddy.
Yeah, pre-order culture.
Don't.
That was all.
Don't even say that.
But really the main thing we want to talk about is the hate that the animation team, specifically one person, received. They received a lot of hate. And now, the person, her name was Ali Liost. I think Liost, sorry if I mispronounced your name, was specifically attacked on social media. She was identified and as the person responsible for the animation, which is just not realistic because one person is never responsible for the entire animation at all. And even if they were, but BioWare is not an indie studio, but even if there was one person, it goes through many people regardless. But
the other thing I want to say just quickly, the reason why she was identified as the person responsible, like as the head person, she had it in her Twitter bio, and also there was a a thing from the Ralph Retort, which is some place I've never heard of,
which is
that said it.
I was just getting to that.
Sorry.
What she had in her Twitter bio was that she works for BioWare. She did not mention Andromeda at all, completely.
That's messed up.
Yeah, and people put it together because she's an animation major. And she says she works in the animation, and they just went in on her, and they were doing, like, just horrible hate to her. Did they dox her? What happened?
They tried to. Like, I don't think there was anything specific, but there was a lot of, death threats.
And she's pretty fresh out of university, from what I can tell. She's young. This is a crazy amount of hate to come out of nowhere. I can't imagine the psychological effects. And the thing is, she didn't work on Andromeda at all.
Oh.
Yeah. She's actually a former EA employee.
BioWare.
Sorry, she's a former BioWare employee. They actually had to release a statement, BioWare, about this. And they said that she's a former employee, and that they're just no one person is responsible for anything that happened. They didn't address the situation they wanted to steer clear of addressing the animations and stuff while still addressing this. But
so clearly what's happening is I honestly think that this is a personal attack that was cleverly disguised. I obviously haven't been very deep into it. I don't know how to do that, and I don't have the strength to read all the disgusting things that people sent her.
I read some of them.
Yeah, they're really bad. If somebody sent even one thing like that to me, I would just be crying.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think the extent of if someone makes bad art, then
just don't look at it.
Just make a joke about it on YouTube and then run away.
I don't think even if it's something they're selling, that's fine. But I think if they're just an artist that's starting out, leave them alone.
That's what I was saying. The absolute extent it should go. Don't attack people just because you don't like something that they did.
Yeah, you have to be a very
bullshit.
sad person to go out of your way to make someone feel horrible.
Well,
These
the
are
thing
all
is,
very sad.
They're trying to get her to commit suicide. That's what the goal is here, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
What other goal do you have when you send that level of hate to people?
Well, see, the thing is, the reason that they have that goal is because it's the only goal they have in general.
Yeah. But the thing
they
is,
just need the power.
The reason that and it may even be, I'm not trying to accuse anyone, but this Ralph Retort person, it seems to be where it started.
Yes, that was specifically where she was we have identified who the person responsible is, attack them.
And I don't want to...
he told them to.
I don't want to accuse this Ralph man.
His surname is Ralph, so we can...
Mr. Ralph. I don't want to accuse Mr. Ralph, but this seems like a personal attack because she is no way associated with Andromeda, so I would be interested to find his connection to her, and maybe this is just a spiteful thing that he is trying to get the internet to do. his bidding because he hates her personally.
So, if you want to know how much of a joke this article is that started it, so it's on the Ralph Retort. Basically, the article immediately starts, the lead person for, the lead VFX artist for Mass Effect Andromeda is a cosplayer, and she has no experience in video games. It then goes on to talk about how BioWare is hiring diversity over talent.
Because she's a woman.
Because she's a woman. They said, I think we all know how she got this job, and then there's just a clip of people throwing bananas at a girl.
That's just someone that's a really sad person.
They also then, you want to know how much sadder this gets? They then compared the release date, because it's releasing on the same day as World Down Syndrome Day, and said, maybe there's a connection, maybe there's a reason why the animations look like this. This guy is a fuckhead.
Like, it's just disgusting, and...
That sounds like an Onion article gone too far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Just to sort of touch on a perspective from a girl in the gaming industry, even on the Nugbox Studios, our game development studio, there's been some people who have questioned how I got my position in Nugbox. And, there's been some other... Because I do the art, okay? And there's been some... I replaced somebody. And they personally have questioned it and suggested that it was perhaps my chest.
Like, straight up?
Did he?
Yeah.
He let me play on his Switch.
He let me play on a Switch too.
Because she has a chest.
I was about to, and enough was too far.
Well, no, he said something different.
Oh no, he actually did say something bad.
But I've received other, it's like, you're just here because you're with your boyfriend, or you're with your just, you're just there because that you need a girl.
You're significantly more talented than anyone else in the studio.
Yeah.
And like...
You literally might be the only artist that's been a part of Nugbox that hasn't stolen art.
Yeah.
Because there is one other one.
Yeah, sure is.
It's not...
Ryan does art sometimes.
I do art when the artist steals the art.
But it's very frustrating, and it's like, I'm still coming from quite a place of privilege, but just because I am a girl, it is a little bit harder for me, and it's even to the point where when I was doing my pitch for a game, nobody was listening to me, and there was silence when the male counterparts were speaking, and the one other female in our class was talked over as well, and that's just how it is. And it's just something that I've grown to have to accept in this course that I'm doing. That's how it's going to be.
I think the worst part about that is that you're actually learning something about the real world. Because, evidenced in this story,
I went into it
suck.
affecting it. It's disappointing to me, and not everybody does it.
Well,
Like,
yes.
It's not the entire class, but it's I don't know if it's a vocal minority or if it's like 50-50. Because I lean more towards 50-50, but it is really off-putting because it makes you feel like your opinions aren't, like, whether you're not good enough. And it's just like, I'm not confident enough to pitch something, and I wouldn't be confident enough to, like, even speak to someone outside of my close friend group and be like, hey, I like your work, can you work on this game with me? Because I feel like they would dismiss me because of who I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm a girl, and that I came here with my boyfriend. Other girls haven't even done that. I'm kind of like weird in the sense that I did that. And it's frustrating, but it's just something that I have to accept.
And it like 100% sucks that it's something you do have to accept.
Yeah. And just, I don't want to have to accept it, but I don't know what to do.
The moral of the story is, anybody listening to Nuggcast, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Don't harass people. Don't send people death threats.
Yeah.
Don't be...
Maybe just do your research. Don't follow anything anybody says online blindly.
And
like,
especially we know we can't trust the Ralph Retort anymore.
Yeah.
If ever anybody did.
Like,
what?
if we ever wanted to.
Who is that, though?
Don't be sexist. Bitches are good too.
Yeah.
I like that message, kind of.
Just be nice to people.
Just
Like, easier, but like you have to go out of your way to message someone who didn't work on a game and harass them instead of just saying nothing.
You know what feels better than making someone feel horrible?
Make a better thing.
Making them feel good.
Giving them a nice cup of coffee?
No,
Being like,
but-
friend.
Like, do better.
An even better thing than that, if you're displeased with something that happens, not just with games, but with any piece of media, hello BioWare, here is some constructive feedback. This looks a bit off. Maybe you should look towards fixing that in the future. That's a much better way to get your point across.
Not
than-
like, hey, drink some bleach, girl who didn't work on this game.
That's why comedy is so important, because you take something and it's really serious and you don't like something about something, you make fun of it, and then everyone laughs and then it gets fixed, or they learn from it. Like, if someone can take a joke and if someone can make a joke instead of being like, yeah, go die, like, much more people have a good time.
Yeah, like, there's no way BioWare don't know about the goofed up animations just because of how much people have been making
Like,
fun of
they
the
can
animations
see
themselves.
it.
Exactly.
I'm, like, that whole point, like, why, how did that get out? That is very bad animation. How did this get out? But they've clearly fixed it. They've fixed it already. I'm so confused as to how this footage got out. What did they send bad copies to people? What is happening?
It would have had to have just been that.
Like, yeah, I don't understand.
People that have played the game have said that the animations, like, I think there's something weird about this one that's been streamed, because people have definitely reported that there has been ones that are, like, just as bad as the stuff that's been coming out. Some people said they haven't actually noticed it that much, but, it still has been bad. But this one version this person has that they streamed was just, like, infinitely better, and nobody knows
it was
why.
fine. It wasn't great. It was
Well,
BioWare animation still, which
it's
is
still
not
BioWare,
good.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just never good. Whether you like the games or not, it's just not good.
Yeah.
Okay? They just don't have the funds, maybe.
Well, the thing is, it's a
But they
game
do?
made by their Montreal studio. It's not made by their big main studio. It's
The main
not
studio
as,
will just fund it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
It's
not as big as the
definitely their
old Mass
major.
Effect games.
It's definitely their major series, though. I think it's much bigger than Dragon
well,
Age.
it's a spin-off to their main series, though. It's kind of
Is
It's a prequel.
Yeah, but like a prequel
Or-
can still be...
It's a prequel.
It's either a prequel or like a New Beginnings kind of thing, but
No,
it's not
a
main
prequel,
series.
it's-
No, it's
like
it's
yeah,
after.
like-
it's like
yeah.
I think it's quite
But,
a
like-
bit of time afterwards.
Yeah,
How do we
way
not
after.
know that it's a glitch?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Because
is that
like if everyone's experiencing it differently, makes
it's
much more
really
sense.
weird glitch to have every animation of the game be worse, but still work, kind of.
Yeah, but like that doesn't rule it out.
and this
being
is
a
a
glitch.
multi-console, like multi-platform game, so I'm wondering if things are happening specifically on some platforms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
like
But
it
why
just.
would the animations of all things be different?
I mean, the
That's-
animations of all things also kind of did that in that one Assassin's Creed game, which was EA. You know, or Ubisoft. No,
Ubisoft.
I fuck them up all the time.
Should we get into our main topic today?
Let's get into the topic. Gameplay versus graphics. That is our topic for this week.
What do you guys think of gameplay? Did
What do you
just
guys
do
think
the?
of grain waves?
I love brainwaves.
They taste good exclusively with dip and not without.
I love them without, but I only eat the green ones. Basically, graphics is what you see, and gameplay is what you do.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
and there is no.
That was
anything
well
else.
said. A big deal with graphics and gameplay is I found that a lot of games sacrifice graphics for better gameplay, or in a lot of games sacrifice gameplay for better graphics. And like, specifically for the first one, I feel like CSGO, over the course of development, they specifically lessened effects, lessened visuals, and like physics and things for it to be more competitive, for it to be a better game. But there are other games like that you guys can think about where it's just they specifically made the game look worse so it plays better.
Games on the Source engine.
I disagree with that.
They specifically sacrificed. They focused on physics in all of the Source
Well,
engine games.
my thing is, I like fundamentally disagree with the thing about like you have to sacrifice it to make it run better. You can make it. You don't have to sacrifice the visual aspects of a game as long as you stylize the visualizer. Like, it is not a worse game if it is a stylized, lower poly sort of game.
It's just that won't work in some games though, like in Counter-Strike specifically.
But it does. Counter-Strike is a lot lower poly than...
Well,
Yeah,
it's,
but it's not
it's not
stylized.
stylized. It just doesn't have great graphics.
It's just
Yeah, but it looks fine.
Oh yes, it's not like a
Yeah.
bad looking game, but they've just actively made it look worse
So-
for it to be more competitive.
But
Which
what
I'm not
I'm
saying is a bad
what
thing.
I'm saying is that it's not sacrificing it because it does look fine.
Oh, okay.
Well, it looks plain.
It's
Yeah.
just they've
I think-
removed like dust effects and like draw distance like fog and things like that.
Yeah.
Like just general dust and things they've removed.
But there's still a
Yeah, yeah.
skybox. There's still some stuff on the skybox.
Oh yeah, it's not like they've
Yeah.
completely been like
It's
okay.
not. It's not just textureless. Like,
Yes.
Like, I think that that's not what I would personally consider sacrificing the graphics. What I would say is, if for some reason you wanted to make it like really, really hyper realistic for some reason, and it's all shiny, and then you can't do that, and that's your entire game. That's sacrificing it for gameplay, which is a
But
good thing because honestly, I hate.
The thing
Me
is,
too.
I can't name a single game that I would look at it and I would go, no, this has legitimately taken out things, so like the graphics, so that the gameplay is better. Like, and obviously, I'm not on the development team for it, but I can't look at a game and go, no, these graphics are worse, so the gameplay can be
Well,
better.
typically, I don't think it happens.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
in my opinion.
That's why I'm kind of hesitant to use the word sacrifice, because
Yeah.
sacrifice is a decision that was made that had nothing to do with us, because we haven't made any of the CS:GO games.
Yeah, well, that's why I think like they made a call that we're going to go with a more low poly sort of situation. More of our details are going to be in the textures rather than in the models.
And that's why CSGO is specifically one game I'm okay with saying is this, because like if
Yeah.
you look through when it was released, it looked better than how it looks now.
Yeah,
I've only seen it when it was released, so that's why I thought it had good graphics.
I think the best word would be prioritize. You can
Yes.
tell when a game has prioritized its gameplay over having good graphics.
I was literally trying to think of that word, so thank you.
but what do you guys define as good graphics?
Well, I was just about to say that good graphics, I feel like, is subjective, and I know whether or not some things are objective or subjective is subjective, which is
but like
a fun
you
topic for never.
personally,
But me personally,
yeah.
I think either if it's realistic or if it's stylized. I don't think that if it has neither of them, then it can be a game that has quote-unquote good graphics, for me personally. Like, I'm not someone that's like, it needs to look realistic. I don't have an issue when it does, though. It's great to look at when it does.
Yeah.
But I think that there's also Wind Waker, which I find beautiful.
Yeah,
Or in
it's
the
a
Blind
heavily
Forest,
stylized
doesn't
game.
look real at all. I think also realism, it's interesting because realism is very common in war games, and I think it factors into the theme a lot. I think realism is very important in a lot of scenarios. If games like Ori and the Blind Forest or any of the Zelda games looked realistic, then that would not be cool.
It would-
like
yeah.
it adds so much to the theme that it's a fantasy world as opposed to it takes place in the real world. So like,
But what about Skyrim and stuff, where it is a fantasy world and it is a more realistic looking
But
game?
see, Skyrim is more of a grim world, less of a
I think Bethesda games kind of have like a weird exception because all of their games just kind of they get it seems like they focus on graphics the least. It's hard because, like I said, we can't speak for the development team, but like the gameplay is the best part of all of Bethesda games.
Yeah.
Which is
Because
what I personally believe.
They typically don't have that.
Exactly,
nice
like
looking of a game.
Skyrim. It looked that good.
I like the way Skyrim looks.
I like the way it looks. See, that's the thing. I can also like the way something looks when it's like Skyrim and it's not realistic or specifically
Skyrim
stylized.
has like it does have a muted color palette, but it's done in a really good way, and it still has vivid colors, and the color palette itself is vivid,
Yeah.
but it is muted at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like
Yes.
it has a wide range of colors, and the world looks vivid, and like a real world would have just crazy amounts of different colors, but it still all fits on the same color palette. It's kind of like the color bluey gray.
Yeah, which I think adds more to the aesthetic. Like I think they did. I think when it comes
That's
to
done-
Skyrim,
I
they
think it's
leaned
done really well.
they leaned
Yeah.
more towards aesthetic and like what a fantasy thing should be
Yeah.
than realistic, like what Battlefield 1923 should be. That was specifically when there were no wars. But hey,
Well, not no wars, just no big wars.
there's always wars.
war.
So Ryan, what do you think of Grames?
War never changes.
So with graphics, It's really difficult for me because I consider pixel art to be bad graphics, but like some pixel art is beautiful.
Why though?
So because graphics is I'd say for 2D art it would need to be like complex 2D art with a solid aesthetic.
Yeah,
Whereas 3D art it's like realistic is good graphics, or like obviously the stylized, like say Wind Waker or something like that. That's like really cel shaded or stylized.
I agree with a good example is Owlboy. That's pixel art, but it's stylized pixel art. But like Undertale, that's pixel art, but it's stylized to be one dude made it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Well, I think that Undertale is specifically stylized to look like a older arcade game.
Yeah, well, yeah,
that was
of
the
course.
point of it. It's just
It's
that was
Earthbound. Like,
So
it
that
wants to
is-
look like
that
I
is
feel like
stylized.
that was the point of it, but it wasn't the point of it because he wanted it to be more so than he couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Well, it was so
Which isn't
heavily
a bad
inspired
program.
by
Exactly,
Earthbound.
yeah.
And I think he looked at his capabilities and said, "This is what I can do,"
Yeah,
and then he
exactly.
went for a style that is good for him. So I would still consider Undertale to be good graphics because it's how it was intended.
Well, you're gonna, from this statement, you're gonna tell how I'm gonna swing throughout this whole conversation. I think a lot of things have bad graphics, and, like, my level of when something is good graphics is a lot different from other people. But, like, you know, pixel art, like, some of my favorite games, like Gungeon, I don't think Gungeon specifically has good graphics. Like, it's a nice pixel art, and it's very aesthetically nice, but I wouldn't say it's good graphics. So I would say aesthetics is a lot more important than graphics.
Yeah.
And aesthetics, like graphics, I don't really care that much. Like, good graphics, I'll be like, damn, that looks good. But if it's aesthetically pleasing, I'll be, in my head, I'll be like, damn,
That's also something, because like I didn't want to really talk long about subjective and objective and graphics and all that stuff, but I think the hardest part about it is, and I don't know if this happens with everyone or if it's just me, but I just have a feeling. It's like, I like how this looks.
I do that a lot, whereas like whenever I talk about the game's graphics, I don't talk about graphics. I find myself talking about aesthetics. I can't talk about game's graphics. I always talk about aesthetics.
Yeah, same.
Because like when Ryan was saying Enter the Gungeon has bad graphics, I was thinking to my head, no, that game looks good. That means it has good graphics.
Yeah, it's
even though
Well,
I
I
know
think-
graphics and aesthetics don't mean the same thing.
Well, I think that aesthetic is the main category, and then graphics is a subcategory of aesthetics.
Yes.
Because I do not think that you can have good graphics and then a bad aesthetic. Like, well, you can because of other aspects, but we're talking about visual aesthetic.
right.
I said that upside down.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap around what you said as opposed to disagree with it.
I think that you definitely can have a game that has good graphics but doesn't have a good aesthetic. Because the graphics are just like...
I
to
strongly
me,
disagree.
To me, the graphics are like the quality of the assets. Like, if I walk right up to this texture, is it going to be a blurry mess, or is it going to be a nice, sharp image? Is the model nice, but when put together into an aesthetic with the lighting, with the colors, that's when it becomes a good aesthetic.
See, I don't agree with that though, because like,
But that is a part of the graphics.
like the colors is part of graphics.
Yeah.
And like everything about the game looks is part of the graphics.
It doesn't
I
matter
personally-
how sharp an image is. If it's bad looking, it's not good graphics.
Yes.
It is purely an aesthetic thing, in my opinion. The way that we are talking about it, we are not talking about like all the settings that you need to go through on your computer. We are talking about how it looks.
No, yeah.
So graphics is just a subcategory of aesthetic, in my opinion. And I think that one of the main things that happens in games is typically gameplay is sacrificed for graphics.
Yeah.
Because we have this horrible, in my opinion, horrible culture where, especially in the war games, where they're so obsessed with getting it to look realistic that it's just the same game again. Like, really.
Yeah. Well, I played Battlefront. Well, I got Battlefront not too long ago, which is a war game.
Which one is
The most recent Battlefront, the
Battlefront's
Star
the
Wars.
Star Wars one.
that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which looks incredible in terms of graphics and aesthetics, and I'm sure we could have a long discussion about graphics versus aesthetics, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about gameplay. And I think that game looks and plays beautifully, but also it's just Battlefield with a Star Wars skin.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to everything they've done before. It is
Well,
EA,
exactly,
so
that's
it's like...
what I mean, is
yeah.
they've just, like, focused on the graphics and they haven't actually made it its own little game.
Exactly, which is
Yeah.
entirely what they do with sports games.
Yeah, and
but
it's
we don't
stupid.
play sports games, so we don't know.
My family are really into the sports games, into the
Okay.
FIFA, and it
The
is
FIFA?
the FIFA.
Such a grandma. He's really into the FIFAs.
You've been playing a lot of those FIFAs lately.
The FIFA, the Pepe's. Oh, Pepe, but he's bad now. He's too old or something. I don't know.
What?
Pepe is cute. I don't know. The girls like the Pepe.
Is a football.
Are you talking about Pele or
No, I'm
actually
talking about
Pepe?
Pepe.
Okay.
But
Anyway, like, I've
Coons.
just after years of seeing them play it, like, my brother and sister really love them, and after years I just see it's the same game. There's been recently a little bit more of like a management storyline thing which they've added, but the main game is the same. And like maybe the controls are a little better, but it's the exact same game, and then they're just every year.
and that is obviously maybe a topic for another time. We aren't going to go into like an enormous amount of depth about it, but when game franchises punch out like something that's virtually the same thing every year, like I have obviously a lot of opinions about sequels being the same and being different and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think that a lot of the time it has to do with, like, graphics. I think because the graphics more or less just stay the same, just a little more shiny.
Well, that's what I mean is like but that seems to be the only improvement that those games are making. They
Well,
are
that's the
so
thing.
focused on
It's
trying
the
to make
only,
it more realistic.
It's the only improvement, and it's not even that much of an improvement. So
Yeah.
it's like it says a lot about them just trying to make money. But at the core of it, you're still playing a game that you played a couple of years ago, which can be a good or a bad thing depending on.
Yeah.
A lot of those sports games are also the new updates, new roster changes and
Yeah.
stuff. So they're
But
adding
when
the
we-
new players.
When
and
we
stuff.
talk about Battlefield and stuff, it's the same thing is happening. They're just updating the graphics. They're changing the story campaign mode slightly.
Yeah.
It's a different war. It's in a different location, but literally the same things happen. And sometimes you have a dog, sometimes you don't. The dog looks bad most of the time.
I've never heard you say that sentence.
The dog looks bad because they don't understand how to do fur because they're so focused on making the metal look realistic that they haven't learnt fur yet.
The dog is always a good boy.
No, the
but
dog is a
sometimes he
good
looks
boy.
bad.
Don't make a mistake. The dog is a good boy,
I won't make that mistake again.
So,
but he's not done justice.
One example of a game it's very specific I think of where I fundamentally believe gameplay was just brutalized, just murdered for better graphics was Batman Arkham Knight. On launch, specifically.
Yeah.
Which is strange, because I've heard you talk about how that game's surprisingly fun.
That was after they fixed all the bugs, but I
Right.
blame all the bugs for them trying too hard to make it look pretty.
Well, yeah, but I guess I was just shocked by you saying brutally murdered. Like,
It was brutally murdered.
I'm sorry, but what does it look like? Is it stylized?
Arkham Knight it's a very good looking game.
It's real dark.
Is it realistic?
it's
Is it
realistic,
realism?
but it's so dark that you can barely tell it's realistic.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
realistic.
so what they've done is they've focused on the realism. I'm just trying to see if you're furthering my point.
No,
or
they
not.
focused on the realism, but they also focused on the aesthetic, but the aesthetic just happens to be edgy, gritty,
Yeah.
which is just realism.
But like, the issue a lot of people had with the game was that it was barely playable at launch, and it was the PC, specifically on PC because the PC port was horrible.
Yeah.
And one thing that's very hard to port, like code, pretty easy to port, but visuals and optimizing visuals, very hard. And it's just if they focused more on a good port other than visuals, it would have been a better game on launch.
Like, definitely, I don't think there is anyone who would say that a game that sacrifices its gameplay is going... Like, okay, an ugly-looking game that has really fun mechanics is still going to be really fun.
Yeah.
But there's no way that a pretty-looking game is going to be fun if you can just stand there, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is, it's a big thing with AAA like, you'll always hear about AAA studios. They're the ones that prioritize graphics over gameplay because they're the ones that have that available to them. And they have, they have focus tested groups that are like, no, we want this to look real pretty. And they're like, okay, well, we need to make this game look real pretty. We want it to be realistic and we want it to be this, that, the other. Whereas at indie's kind of the other end. It's like, we can't get amazing graphics, so we need to prioritize gameplay over graphics.
I disagree with that on the very fundamental level. I do not think that, once again, it's a differing opinion. I do not think a game has bad graphics just because it is not a 3D hyper-realistic game.
Well, not specifically, but also, like, those games, a game that has a team of, like, animators, a team of, people working on all the visual aspects as compared to an indie game that has, a few people working on it. Like, a AAA game, I struggle to think of a AAA game that doesn't have good graphics.
Do you think that Yooka-Laylee has worse graphics than Andromeda?
Yes.
Really?
I think that Yooka-Laylee doesn't look good as a stylized game.
I think
love
it
it.
does. I think it looks spectacular.
It for something about me, like everything, like the polygons don't look stylized and stuff. They just kind of look bad. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. It doesn't look stylized to me at all.
But I would be one to argue that aesthetically, Yooka-Laylee is a lot better than Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes. Well,
Like,
yeah.
I think
Like-
that we just have different definitions of graphics because mine is legitimately graphics is a part of how something looks, not a part of the technical side of things, like how it runs.
Yeah, mine is possibly more of like a technical
And
side
I
of it,
don't
I guess.
understand how
Definitely more
you
of a
can
technical
critique
approach.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like. I think that I can see what they were going for. It just something. I don't know what it is because I can't specifically put my finger on it. It just doesn't look good to me. And the sound design also seems a little off. It just seems like they were going.
Did
for...
you ever play Banjo-Kazooie?
Yes.
Okay, that's weird
Yeah, it
because I
seems
thought
like
maybe
they-
it was me just having like my nostalgia goggles on.
Yeah. It seems like it's going for Banjo-Kazooie.
Well,
Exactly, but it looks like obviously it's not out yet, but it
Yeah.
looks like it's not out yet as well. But a lot of people are like, this game looks great.
I disagree. I think it
It's-
looks very polished and wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
best way of putting my finger on it. To me, it looks just done before the polish.
It's so weird that you mentioned that the sound design seems off because they have the same composer.
They have the same guy, and I
Yeah.
love him so
Yeah.
much. He's a great boy. But, like, something about the original games...
Maybe it just fell into like Uncanny Valley for you, where it's so
it felt
similar.
very Uncanny Valley.
Where it's so similar to Banjo-Kazooie, but it's just different enough for it to be like make you feel uneasy about it.
Everything felt, in terms of sound design, everything felt very empty, and I don't know why. Like, the noises that, you know how, like, it's a Banjo-Kazooie thing, where the noises they
Yeah.
make, like, meow, 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 meow. Like, that sounds real cool to me in the first ones. Sounds weird in Yooka-Laylee. I don't know what's going on. I want to look into it more, because I'm getting that game. I'm
Yeah.
so
Oh,
into
yes.
Yooka-Laylee.
Same.
It feels off, but there's nothing actually wrong with it. Like, it
I
looks
think-
like Grant Kirkhope did a great job, and he's still just as good, if not better, than when he worked with Rare.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is.
But is it-
I've listened to the music separately, and I've listened to the voices separately. Everything separately sounds good, but when they're all put together, something feels off.
Is it perhaps that it is in fact less dark looking than Banjo-Kazooie?
It looks more dark
It
to me.
looks- Really?
I watched the entire casino
Because-
level 1.
You know, like with all the witchiness and stuff, and like this when you go up into the cave with the rope, right
Yeah.
after the very first sort of area, it's quite dark and like gloomy looking because
Yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie spoilers. Oh yeah, I mean it's a harrowing tale of kidnapping. But I
Just
just
like
think
Glover.
that it's a lot brighter and more like vibrant than Banjo-Kazooie, and that's so weird.
It looks more vibrant and colorful, but something feels eerie about it.
I think it may just be falling into the uncanny valley for you, and
Maybe.
that's a flaw.
Yes.
Because you're not. I'm sure you're not the only one. Just because it's not
Maybe.
happening to me doesn't mean you're
Well,
the
yeah,
only
but
one.
I also was like, oh, this, like, I was watching it, like, they're making good progress, this is good, like,
Yeah.
this will
No,
be good
it's
after
done.
the polish, and then I read the comments, and they were like, so excited for this game, but it's like, oh, it already looks so great, I'm like, hold on,
I think it looks
they done?
stunning. I love it. But then it's so weird that it's
It
just
looks good, but I don't like it. I think Anyway,
Maybe when you play it, it'll be.
the point is the gameplay's going to be good. Doesn't matter if the graphics are bad.
Back to the original topic. One thing I noticed a lot is that launch titles, the ones that try and show off the power of the console, very often fall into the trap of, we've got to make it look good, I don't care how it plays. Like
Yeah.
Rise, Son of Rome,
Destiny.
Order 1886.
Destiny's fun. I've played it.
It wasn't at first.
I played
People
it
couldn't
at
play
first.
it.
Killzone.
Yeah, Killzone's the one I was trying to remember.
People
Nintendo
like-
seems to do a good job of launch titles being actual good games, though.
But that's because they do
Yes.
the same thing when they repeat the same game.
Hmm.
Like Battlefield. Mario Party.
Okay.
Mario Kart.
All the Mario
But
games.
neither of those launch titles for the...
For the Switch. But...
Well, I don't think they were launch titles for any of...
Oh, really?
I think
Okay.
Mario Galaxy was, but that was a game that.
That's
Okay,
separate
that's
different.
different.
Yeah. All the side-scrolling Mario games have fallen to the same thing for me, and
I really play more of the 3DS version, so
Yeah,
that's
and
where I'm coming
as-
from.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Less Wii.
as far as I know, obviously the most recent Pokemon game tried to mix things up, but that's
It-
the same game a lot.
It
as
did
far as I
and it
know.
didn't. The X was really the big push of a change.
Right. I thought the big push was happening because this one's on an island. That means it's different.
Oh, well,
I thought that was the biggest
a-
thing.
There's gameplay changes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It does have gameplay changes in the
That's
story
the-
sense.
Oh, well, it's
Well, there's
yeah,
still all
it's the biggest
the
gameplay
Kahuna
shakeup they've
people,
done.
so it's the same thing, just like labeled differently.
Yeah,
That's also something I specifically wanted to bring up with Bethesda. A lot of people really, really love New Vegas and Fallout 3, don't like Fallout 4, really, really love Oblivion and Morrowind, don't like Skyrim.
I have never met anybody that doesn't like Skyrim.
Me too, but I've seen people. Like, I've
Oh.
met people, everyone I've talked
Yeah.
to. But right. So, like, obviously Skyrim and Fallout 4, I think Fallout 4 looks great. I love all of them.
We've
but-
already heard, yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo! I think both of them are definitely huge step ups from the previous game.
Definitely, yeah.
In the Elder Scrolls, everyone was the Potato Man, and in Fallout, everyone was, you know, the same color. It was all equality. It was nice, but like, it was just, I don't know. I think that I don't know if I've had more fun with those games because I don't have to like commit to getting through the appearance of it. But all I know is that there's something inside of me that when I like the appearance of a game, it's like press F12. Do it. You need as many screenshots as you can.
In my experience, I started playing the Elder Scrolls series at Oblivion. And my sort of nostalgia goggles, Oblivion I had more fun with, but then again, I have only played Oblivion one character. And I've made so many characters on Skyrim.
Yeah,
And
Oblivion.
I don't really know what that says about the games.
I think when it comes to graphics in Oblivion, it's very stylized and it's colorful, and I love that. It's specifically the people that
Yes,
look bad.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oblivion is a beautiful game when there are no people around.
Yeah.
I think that the plants are done better in Oblivion. The not the like big pieces, not like the mushrooms and stuff, because they're obviously better in Skyrim. But the grass in Skyrim is not as good as the grass in Oblivion. I feel like the textures had a lot more detail in Oblivion.
Oh,
And-
I was gonna say maybe
yeah.
they did that on purpose, but if it's just texture quality,
Yeah,
then
it's like literally, I think
Maybe
they just put
because-
more work into the textures for Oblivion.
I was gonna say maybe because Skyrim's bigger, but that's not even true.
Yeah, but I know because it's like snowy. Maybe it's just they went for the dead look and they just
Yeah, that's
maybe
what I was gonna
failed
say.
a little bit.
Right.
They just fell
Or
short.
maybe they just thought people didn't care about the grass that much.
I care.
Yeah, I know. I do too.
There was in Oblivion. There's just beautiful wildflowers, and you can see like, you know, you can see the detail. It's better than the Skyrim ones, but not the ones that you can pick.
I think an interesting middle ground, people might disagree with this depending on your opinions, but
fine.
I think an interesting middle ground between graphics and gameplay is the frame rate of a game. Because the frame rate directly affects the gameplay as well as the graphics for the game.
I think, weirdly enough, frame rate and controls matter to me more than either graphics or gameplay. Like, I think, personally, music matters the most in games for me.
Well, controls is a part of gameplay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I'm trying to remember the game. This is just going to be like, oh, this mystery game. But there was a game that had just nothing going on, but it was fun to move around in it, and I enjoyed it so much. Like, there was just nothing going for it. There was no gameplay, there was nothing unique, but it was fun to move, and the controls felt really natural. Pains me that I can't remember the name of it.
Was it Don't Move?
Well, no, I don't. I disagree. I just disagree with everything you're saying. You're just being offensive to me.
You can disagree without being offended.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
cool.
don't know. It's just offending me on such a deep level. Like, I just think we have a very different opinion on what graphics are, and I would love to get on the same page about that, but...
I think, like, I don't think either of us are wrong. I think I'm coming from more of a technical level, and you're
yeah,
coming from
that's
an
what I
artist
mean is I
level.
would like us
100%.
to decide on an opinion of what graphics actually means. But, no, I just think that graphics, for me, are equally as important as gameplay. I will not play a game if it feels clunky and I feel like I can't move and like I'm just over-encumbered the entire time. That's not fun. I don't like games that are boring. It's just, I like to have an objective. I like that it either be a story or for me to, like, it's shoot the people. That's the two options.
Yeah.
And there's, there's other things, but you know what I mean.
I think just like we all have different opinions on what graphics and aesthetics really are and what we personally like about those in specific, that also happens a lot with gameplay. I could deal with a walking simulator. So many people get bored by them.
Yeah, I like walking simulators.
Me too.
My problem is that I think that the people that just are constantly like, yeah, let's make it realistic, it looks beautiful because it's realistic, I disagree.
Well, I feel like they're actively setting back the game industry by just being
I
like, it needs
agree.
to look better.
I agree.
Well, it needs to look
wholeheartedly.
more realistic.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree, because it's like, first of all, I don't think it looks better. I'm like, why can I see these characters' little hand wrinkles? Because that's not even how hand wrinkles work. First of all, look at your hand. Why do you have sausage fingers now? And it's like, they're so realistic, you can see all the wrinkles. And I'm like, ew. And it's like, this is wrong. This is not even the right wrinkles, but... And it's like, oh, make it shinier and make all the lens flares. Why don't we just work to make it look better, but not necessarily be a bigger burden on the computer or whatever you're playing it on? Because like, I don't understand why there's such, and I kind of do, because like business, why there's such a push to age out the current consoles and stuff, and it's because they want to sell the new upgrades. But
yeah, I just think that I like when a game looks realistic. Just inherently, I'm just like, hey, I mean, they tried.
I think
don't
it's
have
how
a problem with
people. I don't have a problem
like,
with it.
I prefer when it's stylized, but I'm not like, oh man, people need to stop making realistic games, because in a lot of, like I was saying before, in war games, I think it lends a lot to the theme. It's not important, really, but I like it.
Well, I think that a lot of people, because of the push by mainly the AAA companies, and then people who have been conditioned by that, it's like, oh, it's better when it's got better, more realistic looking graphics. I think that it has led people to believe that anything that is stylized is inherently worse because it's not realistic, and then it's making people like shy away from indie games. They won't give it a try because it's 2D.
And it's also making games more expensive to make.
Yeah,
like games are crazy expensive, like especially AAA studios.
And for like very little gain, because it just...
There's definitely a big case of diminishing returns, especially at the moment. Like, if you push to make it more realistic, you're getting like such little improvements towards the realism for such a huge cost that it's
and
not
it's just
viable.
unnecessary.
Yeah, like people don't need realistic games. We need games with good gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, gameplay is the only thing our medium has that other mediums don't.
And I think that,
And a lot of games don't use it to their advantage.
Movies will always
aesthetic-
have better graphics than games.
Yeah.
aesthetic, the aesthetic aspects of a game are incredibly important. I think I don't have fun in a game that doesn't have a good atmosphere. Like, if I don't... It ruins my immersion. If a game doesn't feel right, but that's not because the game doesn't look realistic. It's because, like, oh, here's a, very obvious thing that's out of its time period or something, It's weird, and I want things to look the same and it to have a overall
Just be
matching
consistent.
aesthetic. Yeah, consistent, thank you. And it to just look good. you know, and I don't think that means realistic.
Right.
I very much think that if you choose to do a 16-bit game, you can make that look wonderful if you try.
Yeah, well,
like,
exactly.
and you have to keep working at it.
I think, obviously it's bad to waste money and make everything realistic, but there's always going to be that guilty pleasure side of me. It's like, it looks like a real people. I like it.
Right. And I do get what you're saying with, like, the war games. Like, it's a lot easier for the player to put themselves, like, there's a reason why people can't get into things like D&D, but they love video games. It's because video games makes it easier for you to put it in. The more realistic, it's easier to put yourself into a scenario. And a lot of the things about those war games are like about the horrors of war and stuff. It's easy to put yourself in those shoes if the graphics are really realistic and you're seeing like, I'm a part of this war. This is a horrible thing that's happening.
That's like I was saying, but also just because like war games take place in the real world, so if it looks like the real world, then it's like, yep, that's happening.
Yeah.
I am
all
a soldier.
War games. Not all war games.
Well, the
take
war
place in
games
the
that
real.
I'm referring to do.
Yeah. What about the space one?
I think there are definitely some like notable exceptions where I feel like the game was made to look as realistic as it could without sacrificing anything else. Like Battlefield 3 looked amazing and still looks good.
I love that game.
And it's fun as hell.
Yeah.
And like
would you agree that Battlefield 1, the older...
The first actual Battlefield game?
No, the one that's called Battlefield 1.
That's set in World War One?
Yes.
1 or 2.
The most recent
of
one.
course it's
Yeah.
1. Oh. Just
figured it
clicked.
out.
Yeah. I would think that is a little bit more stylized.
Yeah. I think they probably got to Battlefield 4 and Hardline and were like, we've made all of the realism graphics, we're just going to add a shitload of lighting.
Well,
I like
don't.
lighting.
I think that it is less realistic looking, and I like it better. Like, it looks better to me because... And I don't know anything about that gameplay. It's not a game that I've played. I'm not willing to spend $90 on the genre that I don't like.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, this looks the best out of all of them. But I do not... Like, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. I do not think that it is more realistic looking. I think they've scaled it back. And that's a kind of a thing that The Sims did. A big change. They were always from Sims 1 potato people improving in Sims 2 and Sims 3, and then in Sims 4 they've taken a step back and made it more stylized and more cartoony, and it looks better. It looks great.
It is actually, it's much better for the approach they took, like, definitely.
And it's but they also did the same thing as they improved the gameplay a lot. A problem that I have with The Sims is that I have to spend $80 on each expansion, and I'm like, I can't deal with that. And then there wasn't toddlers until very recently. But they're in there now, and it's a lot more fun. And you know, it made it faster for them to make it because it is a more stylized thing and it's lower poly. But it's easier for computers to run it, so it's more open to people, and generally they're a specific target audience, you know, young kids that can't afford to make a full gaming rig. And, you know, they did some other things that changed the gameplay a little bit, like, it's not fully open world like The Sims 3 was. You have to, like, loading screens, but the loading screens go very fast, yes.
Oh, okay.
There are instances.
Yeah.
But they go real fast, so it doesn't really feel like it that much. It doesn't disturb the gameplay too much. And they really brought in some new things, like with all the emotions and stuff. And they just improved it a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that they did good.
Yeah. So, like, there are games out there
and that's
like...
AAA, so I'm, you know.
Yeah. Like the Witcher games and, like, Crysis and GTA 5 and all those kind of things that are actually fun games with good graphics, which kind of, like, opens up this whole thing of, like, why are there so many games that do sacrifice gameplay for graphics?
You know, Crysis 1 is the fun game, and Crysis 2 steps up in the realism, and it's...
I've heard that before. I couldn't get into Crysis 1, but I've played Crysis 2 like 3 times.
Just opposite.
I think the thing about Crysis 2, I'm pretty sure there was a thing where Crysis 1 was the... Even when Crysis 2 came out, Crysis 1 was still, like, more computer heavy.
I think
well,
it was
that's
just
poor optimization.
It might just be
it was
poor
definitely just less
optimization.
optimization.
Yeah.
Because, like, the thing was when Crysis 1 came out, no one could play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just... Crysis 1 was probably the longest benchmarking tool. Like,
Yeah,
to stay there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's stuck around for a
Yeah.
while.
I find it funny how it's like they used a well-optimized game as a positive. It's like, oh, if you can run this, that means you have a good
Yeah.
rig.
Oh,
Yeah,
my-
but it's because of
that's
its.
true,
It's
though.
because of its like realistic looking graphics. That's why people were like, oh, it's because of that, and people maybe didn't notice it as much.
Yeah.
So that they're like, oh, it's just because it's so graphic intensive, and then like, who made it? EA.
Crytek.
Crytek.
Oh, sorry. Crytek was like, little do you know, we just didn't bother to, pack the textures properly.
Nah.
At Bethesda.
I just have too many opinions about this man.
Should we
I think we should
close
definitely-
it? Closing
we should wrap
thoughts?
up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
When I was a wee lad, I was like, oh, the PS2. These are some good games.
And then you grew up and couldn't get into the convention. You sat outside in the rain for 3 hours.
And then on my PS2 it got drenched. I'm not...
What is this accent?
What's
It started out as
happening?
Irish, which is
Yeah.
a joke that I made, and then he...
Combined his South African accent with it?
Yeah,
and
with a
oh
little
boy.
bit of Scandinavian in
No,
it.
my PlayStation 2, it just got drenched in the rain, and I was like, oh, I can't play Jack 3 anymore. Now it's just...
at least 500 rand to get this back.
You're not even doing your real South African
What are you
voice.
talking about, man?
Well, that's better, but
Is
before...
this better?
Yes.
I have like 3 South African accents, and I
Just-
can't.
Just do
Stay
your wrap
consistent
up.
between them.
Do your wrap up, you nerd.
Today.
Like, it's just like a really... It's subjective. I mean, I personally disagree that it's subjective, but it's subjective what you like in the aesthetic sense.
Wait, did you say...
I personally disagree that graphics are subjective. But what you like is
I personally
subjective.
think that virtually everything in the world is subjective.
I don't think it's subjective what you choose is objective, though. Some things, the rest of the way won't be objective.
The objectivity doesn't exist. That's a fact,
That's
Jack.
not a fact.
No,
you
it
get the
definitely does.
Do you get the joke I just made?
No.
I said
Oh,
objective.
yes, I got
Oh!
But I got offended before I could stop.
No,
before
I
could
know.
continue
Everyone keeps
listening to
doing that
you.
lately with me. Gosh dang.
No, I just think we could go on and on about this topic because it's
It's
super
one of them
in-depth.
infinite topics.
Yeah, and we're all gonna have differing
Differing opinions.
opinions. Yeah, differing opinions. And it's just we'll just stop.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree, games are fun, and there are plenty of things that make them fun, like the gameplay, but graphics can be a big part.
Yeah, and it's bigger for some people than others.
So, Micah, what have you been playing this week?
Been pretty bad at playing games this week. So I've mainly just been playing Fallout some more, which I still enjoy. I got to the railroad ending. I found out that the fact that I got kicked from the railroad meant that I couldn't do the railroad ending. Who would have guessed? But now
So you need to go back on your save.
which was only I lost like 2 hours, which in a Bethesda game
Yeah.
is pretty much just
I walk down the street.
You
it's
just have
just
a little nap.
inventory management, really. But yeah, I just went back to before I boarded the vertibird and instead boarded the teleport.
The other thing.
Yes, the Institute thing, and then the Brotherhood of Steel. Real easy. That's about it. I think it was cool because like they didn't they like cheesed with the railroad thing where they just used the Institute stuff where you have to like work with Father while you're undercover. But with the ending, they didn't do like obviously I don't think it's that much of a spoiler that when you're in one of the factions in the game you have to destroy the other 2 factions excluding the Minutemen. I think it's great that they had a different way to destroy the Brotherhood between the Institute and the Railroad, and both of them worked better for that specific like thing. Yeah, and then I was completely satisfied with the Railroad ending. I think it was cool. Yeah, I still have some motivation to play it, but all I've done since last week is play the main story. So I guess maybe I don't have much more motivation because I started playing Skyrim. You guys, I started it last week and I only played a little bit to just see how it ran with a shitload of mods. There are more mods now. I have 80 mods installed. They're all visual. Well, no, I also have like Falscar and stuff like that.
Yes.
But it's just one quick thing on modding is that I'm not good at it. So it kind of, in a way, takes away my enjoyment when the water is completely gone. And I can still swim in it, but you can't see it. It's completely transparent, even when you're under it and everything. And you just look at a lake and there's just fish just floating around. But every time I go to talk about Skyrim, all I can say is I love it. I think my favorite part about it is how a lot of people hated the combat. I really love the fact that there pretty much isn't combat, because it feels a lot more free. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like the fact that the combat is just nothing. But I really like just going into combat and just doing whatever I want, instead of being like, oh, I got to specifically dodge now. It's like, well, yeah, I just have to move, because that's how dodging is. Instead of there's a dodge button.
Yeah.
Which I still like in other
I
games.
use dodge buttons. I'm the literal worst.
Yeah, don't play The Witcher.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I won't, because its graphics are too ugly for me to play.
It's so beautiful. Graphics don't matter.
They very much matter.
Gameplay.
Anyway.
But yeah, I'm never gonna be sick of that game. I think there's no way for me to actually know how much time I have in it, with the mix of idols and the fact that it says on my Xbox, which is where I played it the most, that I have 400 and something hours, but it's on an Xbox, so I don't know how much of that is loading screens and idle, and I don't remember the type of person I was, if I committed to games or if I went off and made a snack for 7 hours and came back. But I definitely have at least, I'm going to say 400 hours total with all the games I've played, and I am in the mood to start a new character. So I just love that game.
Yeah.
It's so enjoyable.
When last week when we were talking about Skyrim, I was like, really want to play Skyrim again, so made a new character.
Hell
and, just got an axe and a shield, and just been doing. It's pretty fun.
I had
more.
I didn't touch being a mage. Like I was a spell sword for a lot of it because that's real fun.
Yeah.
But I have a character that I went back to like over the past week that's a mage, and it is just so much fun.
I love playing a mage.
Yeah.
There's especially with the Dawnguard DLC, when you're a vampire lord, there's one, when you turn into the vampire lord, you can hold them up and then just blossom with spells with your other hand, and it's just, or you can just hold them up and then throw them off the bridge. It's just all great. Telekinesis with people.
My first character was a mage, and I'm finding just having a melee character is just real
It's
fun for
so
me. So
fun.
it's
I
just
think
the
it's
two
just-
ends of the
I think it's just fun doing something you haven't done before, which is really easy to do in Skyrim.
Yeah. Exactly.
More so than I think any other game, because you can have, what I've found, I think a lot of people disagree, but you can have an entire game where you just use a bow, or you just use a dagger, or you just use one-handed or two-handed or something like that, and not really mix it up that much and still have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Which makes it even better, for replayability. That is the most replayable game that I've ever played and then replayed and then replayed, too many times.
Yeah.
Lost so many characters.
The thing about Skyrim as well, and Elder Scrolls games, is there's a lot of quests. I'm still finding quests that I haven't done. I feel like the quests aren't of the same quality as the Fallout games, but there's a lot more of them. But the quality kind of comes down to there's decision making and there's branching things of how you can do it and stuff. But so that that's the reason why Skyrim has more. But I'm finding it good that in a Fallout game there's not one quest that I have been I haven't done some part of this quest.
Yeah.
But in Elder Scrolls games, I have about the same amount of time, and I'm still finding quests I haven't done.
Yeah, I think with the Elder Scrolls games, it's not the quests are worse, they just don't have as much going on as in Fallout. In Fallout, there's the whole branching stuff, and in Skyrim, they kind of just all do the same thing.
Rowan.
Should we do another episode on Fallout 4 and Skyrim?
Let's just...
just...
Rowan.
Me and Mike played some Gran Turismo 4 because we both drank a beer and a half, so we were sauced.
We were quite crazy.
And we were like, we watched a documentary about Salvia.
We got, I don't want to say bored, but we were willing to do anything, and I specifically was I want to play a racing game. And something that's interesting is that both me and Rowan have only ever played cartoony sort of stylized racing games, not Gran Turismo.
I've dabbled in more realistic racing games, but they're so much more fun to not take seriously.
It's so just just choosing the completely wrong car, Because I'm used to a Mario Kart where it's like you could win with any car. I went on a dirt track and chose like a car that did not go faster than I think.
The 70s made for the road.
Yeah, it didn't go faster than I think 20 miles per hour, which is not racing speed.
And then I would just choose a Mini Cooper and just drift.
Yeah.
And like also, yeah, I choose the fastest car, Maiko choose a slightly slower car, and I just brake and try and get him to crash into me the entire time.
There was one race where you were, I think, a minute and 30 seconds ahead of me by the end of it, just because I chose the wrong car for the type of track we were on. It's like, this ain't no Mario Kart, but I still had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I think we're both going expecting to play for like a few minutes and just ditching it.
Yeah.
But we just, by not taking a game that's meant to be really seriously at all, we had a lot of fun.
So much fun to do. That's like my favorite thing to do in any of the games, which is something I really liked about Battlefield, specifically Battlefield 3, just how many times people like threw C4 onto a car and then drove it into a jet. Like, shit like that is great. I love taking games that are very simulation-based, just messing with it. There it is.
So a game I've been playing this week.
What have you been playing?
I found a nice little mobile game. It was suggested to me by Kotaku, which is a bit of a worry. But, I feel like it's one of those articles that's like, I can't tell if this is paid advertising, but still. It's called Bit City. It's pretty fun. It's a clicker game. It's disguised as like a city management game, like a Sim City kind of thing. It's not, but it's disguised as that.
Clicker games that are disguised are really fun.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're trying to be something more than a clicker, because you go in expecting exclusively a clicker, and then you get a little extra stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically like you have a city, there's a big button at the bottom that says build. The button at the bottom upgrades your buildings. So you plop down your buildings, you get to pick if it's like a residential, a utility, or a business. You kind of got to balance, like you don't want too high a percentage being residential without them being buildings and utilities, etc.
Yeah.
And basically you hit the build button and it upgrades it to the next level and it changes what the building is. So it's like, it might change from a pet shop to a
high school.
A high school, or like, and
there's a lot of health regulations to do with that.
And so, and you can like lock it down to be a certain thing, and so you can have your city looking kind of how you want it to, but it's also random. And it's a fun little game. Like you click in the build button, you upgrade it so that you get cars. The cars have coins that spawn, so you tap the cars.
I'm gonna be honest. Every time I've looked over when he's been playing this game, I have seen him watching an ad.
Yes. So every 10 minutes you can double the speed that the game runs at by watching an ad.
Does it stack or does it run out after 10 minutes?
No, it runs out after 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes you're watching an ad if you want to keep it at double speed.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, the reason why she's seen it is because I keep the volume on full, and so the game has no volume until an ad starts where it's at full volume.
There you go.
And then I'm like just too lazy to turn off the sound for the ad.
I went through the ad watching thing with the PewDiePie simulator.
That's what I was trying to think about. Just you're never not watching ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I like the ad model better than microtransactions.
Yeah,
Me too.
Well, I like
So
it.
much
I
more.
like
Much
it
better.
as another option.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that there should be microtransactions because if you want to just not watch ads and just spend your money, go ahead.
Well,
but also, I am poor.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's a good way to support the developers without touching your bank account. Like,
Exactly.
If I could sit with a lot of YouTubers, if I could just sit there and watch like an hour's worth of ads just because I wanted to support them, but I'm broke, I would do that. Like, so it's good you can do that with
There's
mobile
like
games.
2 of them I would.
I think every game that does that sort of thing, where it's like watching ad gives you a thing, needs the option to spend like $3 to disable ads, and then still get the bonuses the ads would normally give you.
In this specific game, actually, there's a $6 microtransaction that makes it so it's always at double speed. So that's exactly
Wait,
what
forever?
Does that?
Yes,
And is there another one to disable ads? Or I guess you.
Then you
like,
wouldn't.
that's the only time that you see ads.
Like,
is
you
when
have
you
to
want
opt in to watch the ad.
Yeah.
See, I like that. That's what
Yeah.
I thought would be good.
Yeah, that's so far. I'm quite liking it. I recommend Bit City for people. It's one of the best things about it, which is like a good thing for mobile games. Infinitely playable. Like it doesn't go. There's no point in playing after this certain time limit. It's just you can just keep playing it as long as you want, and when you're not playing the game, it still like earns a little bit of money. But yeah, you can just keep playing it as long as you want. It's not like, oh, you need to wait for this cooldown timer to refresh to be able to get this
cooldown
done.
timers.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, I've been playing a couple mobile games as well. As usual, I'm playing Tap Tap Fish. I'm getting very excited for when the Easter event comes around.
I'm still continuing my Tap Tap Fish boycott because of the
They've
glitch.
definitely fixed the glitch.
Yeah, but they will not fix the pain it's caused me.
Look, you're really low level, so it's not like us. Yeah, one of the main reasons I'm so excited about the Easter things is there's going to be a little bunny scuba diver fish, and they're so cute. And there's also, I'm a little bit confused, I'm not sure if the spring event is the same thing as the Easter event, but there's like turtles with flower gardens on their back. It's a real cool look, and everything is exciting and beautiful. And I have a new mobile game. It's called Clawbert. Like Albert, but claw. You play. You're playing as a person operating a claw machine, whose name is Clawbert.
The claw.
Yeah, and he's looking for friends because he's lonely. So you need to collect the eggs using the claw machine, which is incredibly easy. And then it's just a little collection game. It's fun. It's just fun. It's cute to say the things. And it messages me things to make me feel bad, like when I need to open an egg because it's a timed thing. Like you can pay. Okay. So it really confused me for a long time because there's coins and there's gems, which are like the microtransaction one. And I could not find a purpose for the coins other than speeding up the timers. So that's really weird because usually it's the gems that speed up the timers.
Yes.
The sole purpose for the coins is to speed up the eggs. And I've never seen that before.
It's weird that they swap that around like that.
Yeah, and the gems you can unlock slots of things, like more egg slots, and you can buy little hats and stuff with the gems. And I'm like, okay, this is like the opposite of how it should be, but whatever. But it is fun, and the designs are real cute. It's just a real cute game, and it messages me things like, hey, I'm trapped, please let me out, when the egg's done. And it's like, Clawbert says, I'm lonely, please help me get new friends. And I'm like, I will, Clawbert, I will!
Falling for the guilt.
Yeah. It's great. I'm never going to spend money on it. I've said before, I spent money on Tap Tap Fish. I did it. I bought a fish. But I'm never going to spend money on this game. But yeah, it's a little fun game. I've been playing quite a few other games as well, though.
Yeah.
I've played a little bit of Overwatch. Had bad experience in quick play. I think I will stick to competitive.
Oh.
It's just better for me. It's just better. I can't deal with people's level of incompetence, and I can't justify me getting mad because it's just quick play. So I will.
As long as you don't get mad and
No,
over
I
the
don't.
chat.
I never get mad at people over the chat, especially in quick play because like this is just for fun. So I'll just stick to competitive where I can justify me being like, no, this is what you need to do because we're working as a team and this is how you counter this specific thing.
Well, yeah, I stick to quick play so I can justify me being the one that isn't doing anything right.
Yeah.
That's me
It's
as well.
just-
I only play quick play.
I literally never even clicked into competitive.
I did and I hated it.
Like, just people spamming, I need heals. It's like, you just let me die. Like, legitimately, you just
I
let
hate
a guy
that.
walked up behind me.
I hate that.
And you, like, I was there, running away behind you, shooting him, and you're spamming, I need heals. I'm healing you, and you're not killing him. Anyway. Also played Guild Wars 2 more.
Good game.
It is a good game. I'm level 80 now, and I have a level 30 character that I'm doing, but I'm probably going to leave that dead just because I really want to complete the map, and it doesn't cross over between characters.
Yeah.
But until I can buy the expansion, I feel like I am wasting my time. Like, I'm logging on to do the dailies now.
Yep.
But I feel like I am wasting experience and time until I am able to go further in the levels with the expansion.
Right.
So I will be buying that.
That's interesting. I had a level 80 character and a level 30 character just like you, but I was 120 hours into the game. So, I don't...
It's all about that grind.
She
Yeah.
also boosted her 80 to level 40.
Oh, yeah.
When she
Yeah.
first got it.
Yeah, do you remember that I used my birthday thing to boost it?
Yeah.
And
Because
it's so
I
much
had
easier on level
I had a
10.
I had a 4-year-old character. That's why.
Everyone's getting birthday.
You must
Things.
like maybe you're just deleting your characters.
deleted one character.
Also, if you haven't got it, I contacted the support because I didn't have a bunch of my collector's edition things, and they just send them straight to me. So if you are actually missing things you should have, just contact them.
Yeah, cool.
Oh wait, good customer support.
Yeah.
That, for a thing with a lot of customers,
I wouldn't say
how
good.
is that financially viable?
I wouldn't say good.
Yeah, because he had them
yeah,
all.
I know.
Anyway, another thing I played was Ark, which I'm taking a break from Ark now. You
Do
guys know
people
how much
keep
I
on-
love Ark.
Yeah.
I literally just installed it.
Every time you tell a story about Ark, you have a new dinosaur that people grief killed.
Oh yeah, when I logged on, all my dinosaurs were dead again. But that's just the game. That's when you play on PvP server. That's like
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's just how it is.
Yeah,
It's just I try not to get attached to them as much as possible which is hard for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
like you.
I got thick skin now because this is just how the game is. But so I logged on in preparation to play with Rowan and another one of our friends, and my base was fully destroyed. I hadn't been on in like a week or two, so of course it was fully destroyed. Like, duh. But I was rebuilding it and making it look real cool. I was about an hour and a half into it, and I got DC'd. I thought that was real weird because nothing else, like the computer didn't DC, just Ark did. And I logged back in, like immediately, like 10 seconds maximum, my entire base is gone. It's a really old bug from like 2014 was that dinosaurs would just despawn even if they were tamed. And now it's happening, and occasionally it sprinkles through, and then they patch it real quick, and now it's happening with bases. So I'm not playing it again until...
And so they fixed that?
Yeah, because I put an hour and a half, that's too much. I was like, by myself, building a base.
You know, that kind of sounds like an early access game.
Well,
Yeah, but like, it still doesn't mean it's not an issue with it.
Yeah.
You're on an access game.
I was joking. I made a joke.
I ended up like typing into the chat because I was like, how is this possible that someone even griefed me that fast? And the Alpha Tribe actually made like friends with them. It wasn't the Alpha Tribe that attacked me. They're cool with me now because they just don't like new people.
Okay.
So if you just show you're persistent and you're not attacking them, they don't care. You know? They'll probably attack me in the future, but it's whatever.
That makes for a healthy server economy.
Totally. Yeah, taking a break from Ark until Wildcard fixes that, because like, please just pay your like programmers so that doesn't happen instead of paying the modders, please.
Ooh.
But I played some new games as well. Several new games. One of them is called Project High Rise. I got that in a Humble Bundle a little while ago. It's a little management game where you manage a high rise. You can either make it residential, office, or you can do pure restaurant, I think. Or you can do just a mix. It's real fun. It's really hard though. And it's just like cute little pixely little... It's just cute and fun, but it's real hard.
Alright.
Very, very hard. But I recommend it. And you'll probably have it, because I think it came in the monthly bundle.
Oh, then I would have it, yes.
Yeah. I think it did, so...
Check
Check it out. It's real fun. And my biggest recommendation of this week, though, is a game called Heart and Slash. It is a little game. You just go ahead. I don't think it's endless. It has a story. I haven't finished it. I played like an hour. You are a robot, and you have the most wonderful anime-inspired animations. Like, you have a sword. At the beginning, you get a sword. You get some armor, which is the rubber duck. I don't know why. It's real cute, though. And you just have to make your way through these buildings, and you fight the enemies, and the enemies get parts so you can upgrade your bits, or you can get new bits. It's fun, but it is so beautiful. It's like cel-shaded pixel art that's 3D, which is...
Hold on.
Yeah.
That sounds like every retro developer being like, I gotta just jizz everywhere right now.
It's so good, though. It
Right.
looks great. The soundtrack is great.
Okay.
It pumps me up, and I'm like, yeah, it would be much better with a controller. It was a little sensitive to the mouse, which is the looky.
What
But
type
everything-
of game is it? Because Heart and Slash sounds cool, and everything you said sounds nice.
It sounds like it's a hack and slash.
like, yeah,
based on
it's
the
a
name.
hack and slash,
Yeah.
but You play as Heart. The little robot's name is Heart. He's got a little screen for a head and got a heart on it. That's cute. But yeah, it's a hack and slash. I think I'm not sure if it's endless. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because there is a story.
Right.
And there's so many things to unlock, so many like cool outfits and stuff, and different characters, and the soundtrack is great, the fighting is great, you jump around like an anime character, like glistening through the air with your sword.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love
it's
over-dramatized
great.
animations.
Oh, and the one time I died, it was so dramatic, I loved it. Like, it didn't even feel bad because
it was so beautiful.
I was like, great. And you get a sassy, like, computer telling you what to do, but it's fun. Recommend. Check it out. I'm explaining it bad.
I'm specifically going to Google it after
Do
we
it.
finish recording because it sounds cool.
It is cool. It is real cool. Some things that we all played together. We played our D&D campaign.
Yeah.
I'm taking a little break from GMing and we're letting our friend do it. He's starting a little custom campaign.
I spent so much money on alcohol that game.
I feel like I genuinely did nothing.
Yeah.
Because I was in the same mindset as our DM, where it was just kind of like, I want to get to the combat, and we took like 3 hours to get to it, I think.
That's pretty typical for a larger group.
Burn a mage, and then he had a shield. Then I
tried
got
to burn.
Rowan is playing his
you
chaotic evil character very well.
You didn't try to burn a mage, you tried to burn a blacksmith that tried to sell something to
not
you.
a blacksmith.
No, he burnt the blacksmith.
Did I burn the blacksmith?
Yeah.
No,
No,
I
the
tried to
blacksmith
burn...
had a shield.
No, it was the store clerk for the potion store.
That was a mage, though.
Yes, I didn't do anything with the blacksmith.
Yeah.
You did, you attacked him.
But
you missed.
That's why you...
I didn't burn him, though.
Yeah, you used
Or else-
burn... You specifically
Oh, wait, there was a
used
short
burning
rest.
Yeah.
I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Yes!
He got arrested and stuff. I've been playing D&D for almost 3 years now. But you guys are all new to it.
Yes.
So how are you liking it? Because I know for Ryan it's a little hard to get into it because I'm very much a person that has a strong imagination. It's very easy for me to get into things without having to view something on a video game.
Mm.
But yeah, what's it like for you guys?
I've played once a few years ago and really enjoyed it. And just like as long as there's like miniatures and a hand-drawn map, I can get really into it.
I've played with 4 different DMs, and I can say that 100% how much I'm enjoying it is dependent on the DM. Because it literally says in the rulebook, the DM's job is to make sure everyone has fun.
Definitely.
And I think I've had one DM that I didn't like, and I won't name any names or anything. No, you were one of the ones I liked. That's a name I'll name. But I've had people that have taken it not seriously. I've had people that have taken it very seriously. I've had people that have rushed it along, and had people that have been like chill about it. And I just like everyone does it differently. So it's always a different game, and like you can do the same campaign twice with the same DM, it'll be different. But if you do the same campaign twice with a different DM, then you can just have significantly more or less fun.
Yeah.
The DM just matters so much, which is why I feel pressured because I really want to DM one time. But
Did any other DM let you bang the mayor?
no DM has ever let me bang anyone apart from you.
if you roll high enough.
Yeah, well, that's the
He
thing.
passed his roll.
Yeah.
I hated D&D because the only time that I had ever played it was with somebody, like, just me and one other person playing it.
He was
and the
quite
other
a
person-
contrarian.
Yeah, he was, like, super not into it, but he was only doing it because he, like, was like, oh, you know.
Also, just 2 people playing.
Yeah, it's really...
gross.
Yeah, it's really boring. And now that I've played it with lots of people, I love it. Like,
I
I'm
think
having a lot of fun.
It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's really dependent on the people, and I think personally when I play, I don't take it fully serious, but I know how, like, my character definitely wants to advance the plot regardless, but I'll just advance it in my own way that I want. When I am playing a character, I want the DM to be surprised. Like, I want to just go against what they planned, and I want... I savor the moments where I make them go,
I tried to do that too, which is why with that one DM that didn't let me do shit, I didn't like it. You let me do... Stop looking at me like it's you.
Oh,
you
no,
let
no,
me,
I'm
you
not,
let me
I'm
trick
not.
a dude.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, okay, yeah, there we go.
I was agreeing. I was like, yeah.
He let me fucking glass a can, eh? That's great.
Yeah, no, it's like... I think you need to, as a DM, you need to adjust to your players. I know that,
That's true.
my DM for my other group, because I play on a bi-weekly, I've played on a fortnightly basis with a group for about 3 years now, and definitely she has, my DM has definitely adjusted to me just doing what I want and deciding, like, no, this is how I'm going to play it.
Which makes it even
Yeah.
more fun when you get them to do the things
Yeah.
because they've got used to you.
Oh, yeah. It's just real fun, and I would just recommend to anyone who's, always wanted to play D&D, just
Yeah.
really try. Like, just try and find a group, get a group of your friends together. It doesn't matter if if none of you have DM'd before, you just need one person to commit to, reading the book quite in detail. But, you always have the books there, you can get the PDFs, but pay them, buy the books, don't steal, don't pirate things.
Both of the founders are dead, so just give them money. Come on.
Well,
Get shit
they re-up to, they do the editions.
And
Just kidding.
You,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I know, we know, but we don't let you.
Yeah.
I know.
Don't make jokes.
And
dip.
It's
you'll-
just great.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised who would be willing to play with you. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just nerdy nerds. It's just people are
Yeah.
genuinely interested in it because it's just such a different thing. It's like, hey, I want a video game where I can do anything.
Well,
That doesn't exist.
No.
But D&D, you can do literally
Yeah,
anything
you
you
can
want.
do whatever you
Minecraft.
want. No.
Minecraft.
No.
Do anything.
D&D.
Mi-
A campaign that is Minecraft.
I want to pet a bunny. I cannot in Minecraft, but I can in D&D.
You can.
You can't
Minecraft.
pet them, you can punch them.
Minecraft with mods.
There's no petting mod.
Make one.
Make
Tell
a
him to make one.
meh.
Make a mod.
And another game, another board game that we all played this week, we went to an indie showcase and we played a game called Burger Up.
That is a
It was a
really fun game.
incredibly fun game.
It's just like a little game of making really tall burgers that can't really make sense, trying to fill out orders.
You get some orders and you get the points
Yeah.
for fulfilling the orders, but it's random what cards you get.
So I played one game and
Yeah.
I won. So I want to
think that
know,
he was
Ryan.
letting everybody win.
Yes, I won as
I
well.
want to know if it's
Yeah.
as fun when you're a little bitch.
Did you lose?
No, they played
Oh,
Because
okay.
we played together, yeah.
Mm.
No, it's still really fun if you lose.
Okay, yeah.
You just wanted to call me a little bitch.
I was
100%.
I was so ready to just walk up and just not enjoy the board
Yeah.
game because I'm a big
Yeah.
board game snob, a big video game snob, but I genuinely had a lot
I
of
was,
fun.
It was
I
really
was
fun.
also very ready to walk up and be like, I'm sorry, what did you say? I don't understand the rules, because
Oh,
that's my
it's
thing.
so easy to pick
it's
up.
so
I
easy to
think
pick up
that
on.
this is a really good party game without being a party game.
Yes.
It's just great, and
And
I
it's
think we
like-
could play it
It's a
so
really
many
good
times.
starter board game if
Yeah.
you want to get into it.
And it's also just, it's very easy to learn, but there's a lot of tricks to it. Like, if you're more of a strategic board gamer,
Oh,
you
there
can
is,
definitely, there's
yeah.
stuff in there for you.
Definitely.
So yeah, Burger Up. Good,
Yeah,
good
check
game.
it out. Burger Up. But as we mentioned, we went to the indie showcase and we showcased as the Nuggcast. Hello to any of our listeners that may be coming from the indie showcase.
Hey,
We love you. Please give me things.
don't tell anyone that I'm a hipster. That's a secret.
Yeah, we found some real cool things. And anyone in the Brisbane area, I would recommend looking up
Dyson Pixel.
Dyson Pixel. They're the guys that put it on.
Yeah, a monthly just indie showcase. There's
Yeah.
comic books, there's art, there's a lot of role-playing game
Yeah.
stuff.
They're just cool people.
And
there.
yeah, they're starting to get some more digital games
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff.
some video games going
We'll
on.
be definitely showing some of the games we make there in the future.
Yeah, next month I'll be personally showcasting my art.
Ooh.
Showcasing my art.
I look forward to
Really?
that. I didn't know you were doing that.
I am, yeah. It's just did it, organized it yesterday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that also brings us to, it is Tripod Month, which is, where you try podcasts in the community.
Nice.
So, hashtag Tripod, suggest your podcast to people. But one that we would like to suggest is, in fact, Dyson Pixel,
Yeah.
who put on the event. They have a great little podcast that started a couple weeks after us, so they're still relatively new, but they review video games, and I like what they have to say about
They're
them.
still little babbies, but they're good at what they do.
They
We
are.
like video games.
And they're lovely boys. So yeah, that's about it. Next week, we'll be playing a Game Foot game. Thomas was alone. So, join us, play it. Tell us what you think.
It's nice and cheap. It's
Nice and cheap, nice and short as well. It's pretty short.
It's made by Mike Bithell, who's a really cool dude. And actually, for Tripod. He has a podcast. If you're into game development,
Yeah.
really well done.
Oh, that's nice.
And he deserves your support, so give him a go.
Do you have the name of that podcast?
It's,
Because we can't just
it's-
say it's Mike Biffle's
I think you just call it
podcast.
Bithel Games.
Biffle Games.
He's a really cool dude. I messaged him on Twitter once being like, how do you get into the game industry?
He's like,
And he messaged me back and was like, yeah, give me things like study, just make games and get out there and stuff like that. I was
I
like,
remember
So
you
he's a
coming
cool
to me so
guy.
excited, showing me the tweets, and I was like, nice. Probably made fun of you.
check out
anyway.
his podcast, play his game. Thomas was alone. We're going to be talking about it next week in full spoiler.
Yeah.
If you have anything to say about anything we said on this podcast or any other podcast, feel free to message us and let us know. We love corrections and we love comments and constructive criticism even more. You can find us at the Nuggcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we upload weekly to SoundCloud, iTunes, and any other place you get your podcasts.
At 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. for Friday.
Exactly. Yep, Fridays.
Have a cool time.
Yeah, have a cool time.